Yeah,
See if Webinar Jams got us fired up or not. Here. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Now we're good. Now we're live.
okay.
Hey, all right. We got people jumping in.
Let's just make sure that how's the audio and how's the video. Could everyone that's on the live comment in the chat and let me know how's the audio and how's the video before we
You're
rock
looking
and
great.
rolling.
Love it, man.
Looking crispy.
All right.
So Matt, so what's been going on with you guys, man? What you guys been up to?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Yeah, I've been traveling a bunch this month. We actually had the family out in Kansas City and then Tulsa, Oklahoma. We actually, the boys, my 6 and 4-year-old, are super into American Ninja Warrior. Like, have you seen that show before?
No, I've not.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So imagine the show, but for like 4-year-olds. So like they did a competition last weekend and both got silver, one in the 3-4-year-old division and one in the 5-6, and they loved it. So it's been fun, man. We were having a good time over here.
Nice. Okay, so Daniel said that everything looks good. Okay,
Perfect.
Great. All right, you guys. So for those of you who don't know, kind of my stories when I first got into real estate. So I got into real estate at the age of 27. And when I first started out, I got a lot of my deals. Number one is from expired listing. And then number two, I was actually doing driving for dollars. So for those of you who don't know, for those of you who don't know what exactly driving for dollar is all you need to do is you just need to pick like a target, basically neighborhood or city or county that you just want to go and look for some rundown houses. But now with a deal machine, which I have Matt on here and one of my coach inside of my Wholesale to Million Academy, Jericho, jump on here and showing you guys how to drive for dollar completely virtual. Matt, is that something that we're going to cover?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll cover physical and virtual for sure.
Okay, fantastic. So this driving for dollar costs you really no money out of pocket. And the goal is a lot of you, what you need to do is you can do this part-time or full-time, right? So even if you're willing just to put in a few hours on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, go around your area, look for some rundown houses, take down those property address. But once again, Matt and Jericho is going to walk you guys through exactly each and every single step. Now, and here's something I want you guys to understand though. Nothing works if you don't, which means they're going to give you the knowledge, but you got to put in the execution. You got to put in the WOR, the K. All right. So that's the key. The next thing is you make sure that you guys got to commit, man. The only way for you to achieve and get results is you just got to commit. Right? This, like, you got to shift your mindset. This cannot be a day, a week. Dude, this got to be until you get the deals. So there's no deadline until you get that money right. So anyways, guys, thank you for everyone that's able to show up on this live. Once again, I'm going to have Matt and Jericho walk you guys through exactly this 30 days, a D4D challenge. So I'm going to let them take over.
Yes, sir. Awesome, man. And appreciate you coming on. I mean, I think anytime we do stuff like this, like your energy just fires me up. Like you get us all ready to go. And hopefully everybody on here, if you're fired up, put that in the chat. Like hopefully you guys are excited, ready to get out there, ready to, like you said, it only works if you work, man. So we want to try to inspire you, but then also give you the exact playbook of how to go out there, how to go drive for dollars like the pros, and how to really, land that first deal or land that next deal. So what we're going to be going through today, I know, Kong, whenever you need to jump off, go for it, man. I appreciate you jumping on and saying, hey, if you can go in the chat too, say where you're watching from. I love seeing the flame emojis in there. There we go. We got some people fired up. Eddie, Daniel, Andrea, Jorge. This is great. Going through this, if you can say where you're watching from, perfect. That'd be a great way to start. We have plenty of people who meet future business partners in these. I did a 30-day challenge last summer for WTM Academy as well. Love that group. Had a great group that were holding each other accountable. And a big part of that is if you can meet somebody in your own market, that helps a ton, or even in a market that you're somewhat interested in. So if you can say where you're watching from, if you're a more advanced investor, put that in the chat too. That's always good for me to know. So that way I can kind of cater, any pro tips to the more advanced investor too. But if you're just doing your first deal, I would think most people on here, the large majority, are probably doing that. But I'd love to see that. See, we've got California, Michigan, North Carolina, Houston, LA. We've got like every time zone here. Love it. All right, let's do it, Gerard. Phenomenal. Awesome, guys. And then Jericho, do you mind monitoring the chat throughout this too? You said?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Perfect.
Yep, absolutely. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
feel free to throw questions in there. You know, I'm going to be on here again, Matt Camp with Deal Machine over here. I do, you know, you see me in the Discord, you know, probably, I mean, almost weekly. You know, I try to make it every week if I can. You know, got barring travel schedule and whatnot, but I just love this community. Like, love to see that you guys are here. You're investing in yourself. You're ready to take action. You're ready to learn the playbook of, hey, here's exactly what to do and when and how. And that's what we're going to be talking through tonight. As Kong said, everything we talk about, the playbook, all of that stuff, that's all free knowledge. That's all going to be walking you through and say, hey, here's what we've seen work 10,000 times over, 10,000 deals, you know, using Deal Machine, and, you know, being able to go through here and be able to say, hey, here's the exact steps you need to take to go find a deal. Awesome. Like, the playbook is going to be laid out there for you, the step-by-step guide, you know, starting tonight. We'll send out the replays. We'll record the replays as well. With this as well, we'll have 2 bonus links at the end. People who, if they want to try out Deal Machine, awesome. You get to try it out free for 7 days. If you see that, hey, after 7 days, it's worth the investment, it's a worthwhile tool for you, awesome, cool. I would love for you to you know, become a deal part of the Deal Machine family, and we're here to take care of you. If not, that's okay too. We've got a ton of people who I know last summer did this challenge by hand using paper, you know, being able to do it in a spreadsheet. You have a lot of alternatives as well, but just know that, hey, we want to hook you guys up with some special offers too. So at the very end, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some giveaways we're doing, like the people that go through and do the homework and really take action. They're going to get a qualify for a weekly giveaway throughout this challenge too. So we're going to be giving away a couple grand worth of free stuff to you guys as well. So hopefully you guys get excited, get fired up, and get ready to get out there and take action. And again, like Kong said, like, you know, we're giving you the free knowledge. Now it's going to be up to you to take that and run with it and you know, change your life using real estate. So Jericho, do you have anything to add there on your end?
No, I mean, everything has been spoken for itself. And just like Kong and everybody else, I actually got started with Driving for Dollars as my very first deal. And that's how I closed both of my first 2 deals, is by Driving for Dollars. And, you know, I've got to say that there's definitely a free way of doing this, and there's definitely a paid way of doing this. With paid, the difference between the two of free and paid, one thing that you guys will start to realize is with free equals your time, right? You got to put a lot of time into it. And then with the paid way, something like Deal Machine, it's just going to give you the convenience, and it's just going to be able to help you fast track your way into, you know, just acquiring these properties, right? Because when I first started, I had pen and paper, and I pretty much just started writing down properties line by line, and that's it. And I can't explain it enough to how, like, the information is being given to you guys right now, and it's up to you to reach out, grab the information, and put it to work. Because, I mean, just like Kong said, and I hate to be repetitive, but nothing works if you don't, right? But I mean, just from my experience, you guys, that's how I got started. And within the first 2 weeks of just putting in the work each and every single day, I was able to close my first deal by Driving for Dollars in the first 2 weeks. So
love it, man.
I mean, I'm not wanting to give you guys any expectations, but I mean, if you put in the work, mix it with constant effort, and I mean, the knowledge and the path has already been laid out for you guys. So I see Brenson here. He's in Puyallup. I'm in Washington as well, man. You got to connect with me.
There we go. Yeah, team up. I'll send out. We do a kind of an accountability partner sheet that I'll send out over email. Which, if you registered for this free webinar jam, then hey, you're going to on the email list, and you're going to be getting, you know, again, the training replay, the giveaways, all the awesome stuff we're going to be doing throughout this whole challenge. So I love to hear your story too. I mean, it's very similar to what David, our CEO and founder, went through too, that I'll get into here in a minute. But to kind of share as well, one last thing I want to comment on about doing this right now. You know, you hear the word recession thrown out often. I mean, you'll see, like, you know, you've got things like Silicon Valley Bank failing. You've got a ton of things in the news every day. It's like, are we in a recession? Are we about to hit a recession? Like, you hear that word over and over. And just know that right now, in any kind of slowdown, any kind of downturn, and really it's been the last, you know, 6-9 months in a lot of markets, anytime there is any kind of slowdown or downturn, it is an extremely important time to be thinking about real estate and be thinking about, you know, assets in general. But on the real estate side, we haven't had a wealth generating opportunity like that in the last 10, 15 years. And the reason being is, like, hey, in any kind of downturn, you as a real estate investor, you as a wholesaler are more valuable to people. You know, in any kind of downturn, people are facing more financial distress, more times where they are dealing with an urgent situation, and you as a wholesaler can help solve that problem. You can come in, you can offer speed, you can offer convenience, you can offer cash if you've got cash buyers. You've got a lot of, there are plenty of reasons why they don't want that property, why they may not want that property anymore, why they can't fix it up, why they don't want to list it. There are hundreds of things that you can solve for them. And your job is to go out there to find those people who are motivated, to really listen to them, to really care about them, to really ask them great open-ended questions, to learn about their situation, and be able to show that how you can bring value to the table. And when you're doing that, when people will trade speed and convenience and cash for a discount, for equity, for a good deal. So that's our goal today, is to help you step up, take action, have that mindset going into this. And why most people don't get started when they know all this and they know real estate is the most powerful wealth generating tool ever created, is they just don't know how or where to find a great deal. And that's our goal, is over these next 30 days to show you the best leads in your market, the best deals in your market. Exactly. That's going to be today, is building that list of potentially motivated sellers of the best, the highest quality lead in your market. The next week's going to be how to market to them, how to really reach out to them in the most effective way possible. The third week is really focused on follow through on those leads and working your pipeline. And then the fourth week is really focused on offers, making confident offers and landing deals. So that's kind of how this is going to work. I know, Jericho, you mentioned like you doing it by hand. That's very similar to David here, our CEO and founder. I know you might see him talking to Kong often. I know they do quite a bit of content together and are good friends as well. He's somebody who was from St. Louis out here with me, moved to Indianapolis, was in a career change, and he knew that real estate was something he should be thinking about. He had read Rich Dad Poor Dad. He loved entrepreneurship, had read books around that, like the 4-Hour Workweek. He knew that, hey, again, real estate is the most powerful wealth generating tool ever created. Now, how do I go out there and actually get involved with it? And when he moved to Indianapolis, he put one hard year into it. And after that year, he had the cars, he had the trips, he was living on the beach. Not quite, not quite exactly. It's something that you can make quick money if you are, wholesaling and find a really motivated seller. But this is a long-term strategy. This is something that you want to think through and create generational wealth, to create life-changing wealth. You want to take this playbook and this knowledge and not just apply it once, but apply it over and over and over again, and be able to scale this strategy and do more and more and more deals. So this is for him. He had a little bit of a humble beginning. He went, moved to Indianapolis. He started to look on market. He started looking at things like this, started looking at maps like this. He'd run the numbers and figure out, man, that's not a deal that anyone would buy. No cash buyer's gonna be excited by that. Or, hey, that one's not going to cash flow. And, he was going through this and realized it is very hard to find. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. This was back even in 2016. It was like that. And when he went through that, he realized, okay, cool. I need to try an alternative. I need to try something else. Well, hey, maybe I can just get a list from somewhere, pull a list from somewhere. There's a lot of different sources that you can get these bulk lists from, of, absentee owned or high equity or what have you. And he realized, okay, cool. I'm going to get a list. I'm going to start to reach out to them, write letters like this. Great. And then I'm going to sit back and just collect a paycheck, because they're going to reach out to me and be ready to sell. And for him, it did not work that way. He reached out, and you may have gotten messages like this yourself. I know I get them all the time, like calls and texts of, hey, can I buy your property at XYZ? And it's not even my property, first and foremost. Maybe it is, but I'm not interested. I'm not a qualified lead. He found out, hey, I'm not finding qualified leads. I'm finding people who, even if they're looking to sell, they're getting bombarded with messages, and they've got all these other investors reaching out to them. They've got, institutional investing. They've got all these different, competitive, wide competitive landscape out there of people that could be trying to get in touch with them. So he realized, okay, I need another method. And he would go to RIA groups. He'd invest in his education. He'd invest in meetups. And he would go and ask people like, hey, how did you find your first deal? Or where do I start? How, where do most newbies get that first deal? And the one thing he started to hear over and over was, hey, do this thing called driving for dollars. And it's something that's been around forever. It's just the idea of literally getting in your car and driving around and looking for rundown properties. And the reason being is, hey, if it's a house that is run down, that is the number one indicator that they could be a motivated seller. This is somebody who isn't able to keep up with the appearance of the property. Could be a tired landlord. Could be somebody it could be a vacant house. It could be, again, many different situations. Could foreclosure. It could be all kinds of different problems that the owner could be facing. And to find those rundown properties, you're finding the properties that are the highest quality lead as well, because these are houses that are really the diamonds in the rough. Like, you have to get out there, you have to earn this list. You have to go out there and put in the work to find these houses. And when you put in the work like that, that means that you are highly likely to find houses that aren't showing up on these other lists, and they're not being listed on the MLS, and they're not showing up in this just very general list that everyone else has. And because it's your own list that no one else has, you are putting yourself in a great position to be the point of contact that gets through to that seller and is somebody who they reach back out to and trust and want to talk to. And, being able to go out and earn that list yourself, again, you're finding these houses that are much less competitive and the highest quality lead, because, hey, their house is in physical disrepair. It's got a tarp on the roof. It's got the gutters falling off. It's got siding falling off. It's, broken or boarded up windows. It has, a window AC unit, things like that to show you, hey, for whatever reason, it's just, needs to be updated. It could be more subtle as well. Like, I know I've used this on my previous calls, coaching some of you guys on here, is that, whenever our first Deal Machine employee actually that landed a deal driving for dollars himself, just practicing what we preach, he found a property that it was like this time of year and they had Halloween decorations up. So, it's been half a year, missed some major holidays. They were a tired landlord. They didn't want to keep up with it. Or they were tired of the physical appearance of that property was a great indicator that, hey, they didn't want to deal with this. So for him, when he realized, okay, I want to try this method, I see the value in driving for dollars. He did have one failure that he learned even more from, is that it takes a lot to follow up with these leads. And for him, he would drive around, he'd look for houses just like this. This is a perfect example, a house that he took this picture himself. And, 6 months later, he drive past it and it looked like this. And it's like, okay, I had this lead on my list. I was driving around. I was, like you said, Jericho, he was writing down physically the addresses, and he was looking up info to get in touch with them. And he was trying to figure out, like, hey, what's the situation with this property? And is this a good lead or not? And then when he figured that out, he would write a letter again, and he'd, sit back and wait for them to call him. And he would look back and, again, 6 months later, see a house like this. And he would look and he's like, man, I have 1433 on my list. This is a lead that I could have reached out to, but I only reached out to them once. I only sent one piece of marketing to them. I need to find more leads, and I need to follow up with them more. So that way I am at the right place, right time when they are ready to sell. They think of me, my postcard is on the top of their mail pile. They have my number in their phone. They, have me on the fridge. Like, they are, they're thinking of me throughout their journey of getting ready to sell their house. So he realized that the failure and the follow-up is the main thing that you can really separate yourself using this method and really distance yourself from everyone else out there. And, again, the main things he learned is go directly to the seller, find an off-market deal, find the motivated seller who isn't already listing the property and asking for a million bids. And then secondarily, you need to find enough people and reach out to them enough times that they are willing to trade you to solve their problem for a discount for a great deal. So that was his goal, is to go off market, find those sellers, unlock incredible deals. He made version 1 of Deal Machine right here to do this, which, I don't know if you remember, Jericho, when iPhone apps looked like this even, but they were not good. They were rough looking. He made it himself. He started doing, he did this for his own use. He was just solving his own problem. And he got out there and he realized this is actually working. Like, I'm adding properties, I'm marketing to them, I'm consistently doing so, and I'm starting to do deals. And he did deals like this where he started to build a portfolio. He started to, purchase houses, renovate them. You do the BRRRR method, did that one on 7132 Grandview, 7114 Grandview, same thing, did cash out refinance, built great equity, built great cash flow. And he built his own financial freedom doing this. He built up a portfolio here that now I actually need to bump that value. It's like 1.6 million today. Equity over 600K now. And he built a 5-figure monthly income from this. So this entire playbook that we talk about today, and again, when he built Deal Machine, it was off this playbook as well, was to solve that problem, to help you add more leads and market to those leads more often. But this entire playbook, this entire journey that he built, he realized, hey, I have a problem I can solve for other people. Let me put this out there. Let me create Deal Machine, which our mission now is giving everyone the power of real estate investing. So, the technology he built is for everyone like this. We really focus on making it a cheap solution, a really, really high quality solution, really focused on driving for dollars first and foremost. Especially because, again, the newbie, that's where they're landing most of their deals initially. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this challenge, is really laying out, here's the playbook, whether you're using Deal Machine or not, to go land that first deal and that next deal and that next deal, and to build those processes in place to really scale to whatever your goals are. So we are proud to say we're the highest rated and most reviewed app out there for real estate investors to find off market deals at this point. Again, when we talk about, it's over 10,000 customers have done deals doing this, and they've done it in every single state. So the playbook we share today, it's from people at every skill level and every location. It's people like Ryan Haywood here, who I know, Jericho, you said you did your first deal during a challenge too, right? Or it was just 14 days in?
I was actually in just the beginning of my academy journey with Kong. So
cool.
It was before Deal Machine, but I can definitely tell you, man, Deal Machine would have been a game changer, because I remember those days looking at those pictures and those mails. I mean, I remember the days. Those were pin in the butt.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's really like, this challenge format is where we came up with this, is to help you guys hold each other accountable, help give you homework, help give you a really specific call to action to know what to do next, and how what goals to set, and all that type of stuff. So the next 30 days are going to be really fun together. I know Ryan Haywood is a really good example of this right here, where he was doing a 30-day challenge. Day 17, he did his first deal. He's really focused on the wholesaling route. He did 72 deals, him and his wife, using Deal Machine in that first year, and then over 400 deals since then. So what we talk about in terms of the playbook, it's people like this, people like Ryan and his wife, and he's got a small team now helping him. It's also people like Cody, who's investing virtually, which I know Kong talked about that at the beginning of this call. We're going to really focus on that too throughout this, is if, no matter where you're located. He said, hey, I tried to do wholesaling in San Diego. It was too competitive. So I switched to Milwaukee, my hometown, and he virtually drove for dollars. He landed 2 deals in the next month, and now has a driver there driving around and adding deals and doing multiple deals a month in that market. So what we share today, it's what he's doing. It's what their team is doing. Matthew Weaver, another really good example. He invested from over 10,000 miles away, where he lived in the U.S. He moved to Saudi Arabia in October 2020, started to use Deal Machine, did virtual driving for dollars, hired drivers in the United States, stateside, and started doing deals, again, from across the globe. So it's what people like Matthew are doing. And then Patrick, here's another one who his story is just so inspiring. We have over 150 videos now on our YouTube channel of people like Patrick, where they talk through how they're landing deals in this playbook. And that's really like what I distilled down this challenge from all those stories, from all the data that we look at, from the 10,000 plus deals that we look at that have been done using the app, is being able to lay that out for you guys and say, hey, here's what to do. Again, whether you're using Deal Machine or not, here's what to do to go land that first deal and that next deal and many after that. And Patrick, he's another great example of, he was sleeping in his truck trying to figure out what to do, and he found Deal Machine and saw our YouTube channel. And 10 months later, he did his, for my first 10 months, I went from that truck to doing 14 deals and over 150K in wholesale fees, using what he's talking about today, or what we're talking about today. So for this challenge, it's going to be taking all of that, distilling that down into 30 days. I know, through this, on every Wednesday, we're going to be doing these live trainings. I know today we had on Kong, we're at 7:30 approximately Eastern time right now. We're going to be doing these trainings at 5 p.m. Eastern time, if you registered for all the trainings, you should see that calendar invite for moving forward, but it's going to be 5 p.m. Eastern time moving forward for each of these trainings. If you ever miss any, that's okay. We're sending out the replay as well. So make sure, but the big thing is make sure to not get behind. Like, make sure to consistently get on here, do the homework, really put in the hustle. And, it's a challenge for a reason, is that it is challenging, but there is a method to the madness. Like I've seen many people, take, again, like Ryan Haywood being an example, take this 30-day challenge, take a format like this, get out there, go start doing their first deal. And when you do that first one, you see the light, and it really snowballs from there, and you really get excited to know what's possible. So, Wednesdays are going to be the live trainings. Each weekday outside of that, just pay attention to your email. That's what we're going to be doing, sending out pro tips, sending out reminders, saying, hey, here's, holding you accountable for the homework, all that stuff. So just pay attention to your email. If you, are on this webinar jam right now, you should be on our email list. So reach out to me if you don't see this for any reason. Just matt@dealmachine.com is my email address. So consider me, I just put it in the chat here for you guys. Consider me a resource as we go through this too. So use that to your advantage and be able to know that, hey, I'm here to be able to share our knowledge and share what's working for everybody else. And then finally, if I can get over here, finally on these giveaways, every single Friday, we're going to share out over email and say, hey, if you have completed the homework, if you complete it before we get back on next Wednesday afternoon, email me and reply to this email and show me evidence that you completed the homework, which we'll give that in as part of the instruction. And you are entered into these free giveaways. And every single week we're going to be doing, we might actually bump that number up over $2,500 a year. We're going to be giving away all kinds of awesome stuff for you guys throughout this entire challenge. So really excited to do that. Really excited to help you, not only go put this practice into action to go land deals, but in addition to that, win a bunch of free stuff possibly too while you're doing that journey. Like the real winner, the real goal here is to start doing deals and to change your life that way and build a process to do this, over and over again. But again, in the process, we want to give away as many goodies, as many freebies as possible, and just give you even more motivation to get out there and hold you accountable and keep going. So, all right, awesome. So today's live training, Jericho, did you have anything before I jump into this? Did you have anything else you wanted to throw in there or mention?
No, I mean, you're covering everything correctly, man. I mean, everything's being covered. Listen, you
Thanks
guys,
for in the chat.
This challenge, I mean, if you can't make this happen for yourself, then, I mean, maybe this isn't the right one for you, right? Because, I mean, everything has already been laid out for you. The path has been laid out. It's been shaved. I mean, quite literally, what Matt's covering here for us today is avoiding every little thing that we would be making if we were to first start out. So pay attention to what is being covered in today. Take your notes. And most importantly, the most important thing here, because that's only about 20% of the work. The other 80% of the work is you actually going out there and putting this to use. Because nothing works if you don't work. I mean, quite literally, if you're not putting any action towards your business, who's going to build it out for you, right? No one's gonna. It has to be you. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
And we really preach that too, of lead with action first. And, we're going to be giving you homework to really start with that. And I know, again, this is something that you will want to jump on, as soon as possible, start to complete that homework, start to get out there and use this playbook that we share, whether you use Deal Machine or not, get out there and execute on that homework. What I go through today is going to be a demo inside Deal Machine on, if you're going to use it, here's how you do it. But all of the principles, all of exactly what to do through that can be executed, regardless. So really, really excited to get you guys, showing off, hey, here is the nitty-gritty action steps to take, the things to avoid, which, we've, again, have 10,000 plus people who've landed deals doing this. So we have a lot of data to point to and say, hey, here's what works and here's what doesn't. And you can use this playbook to really know that, okay, if I follow this process, regardless of all the noise out there, which there is a lot in the real estate space, there's a lot of things you could be doing right. Hey, here's a proven process, simple, laid out for you. I will share pro tips within it too. So, feel free to take notes as we go along, or, again, we're going to be sending out the replay tomorrow. But our goal here today is to help you find the most motivated leads, which again is physically distressed properties, to find the least competitive leads because, hey, because you are getting out there, because you're driving around, whether it's physically or virtually, which we'll show off today too. However you're building your list, we even have people who hire drivers to go build the list too. There's a couple options here. However you're going to do it, you are finding the best leads out there because you are putting the equity or the sweat equity into this exercise and getting out there and being able to put that work in to build this list that other people might just sit behind a computer and say, hey, build me a list right now. It takes only 5 minutes. You can land deals that way. Yes, we have a list builder inside Deal Machine too, that you can do that route if you want, but it's going to take way more leads, way more time to reach out to those leads, and way more marketing budget to get in front of them and actually find somebody who isn't already being bombarded by other investors and other people reaching out for that property. So that's the goal here today. I will say, before I jump into the demo side of this, I want to help you set some goals. And if you've been on my, my weekly coaching calls at all, we talk about these goals too. These are two magic numbers that are really the main two things that we see lead to long-term success and, lead to that first deal and many after it. The first magic number that I want to share is the number 100. And you'll see with the homework this week, that's where we're getting the logic for this, is that 100 leads is an extremely important milestone to hit. And by lead, we just mean a rundown house, a house that you have found yourself, whether it be virtually driving or physically driving in a market, and putting that on your list and saying, hey, yeah, that house, needs a new roof. It's got, really overgrown grass. It's not looking in great shape. Okay, cool. Add it here, or write down the address, and then move on to the next one. So 100 leads is an extremely important milestone to hit, because when we look at the data and see that, okay, where can we predict success? Where can we look at the data and see where people are highly likely to stick with this and build the right processes and keep doing this and get to that first deal and keep sticking with it? That 100 leads mark is where that happens. That's where people are building the right, putting in the right work ethic and putting in the right processes already, where it's kind of like going to the gym or eating healthy or anything like that. That first couple of weeks, that first week in this challenge, that's going to be where there's a lot of friction of being able to get out there and try to find, hey, can I go, start adding leads, and can I get to that 100 number? And when you get to that point, you have fought through that initial barrier and you have put the right things in place, that you're starting to build a routine. You start to see the light. You start to, if you've reached out to people already, you might be having conversations already that are really exciting. And you're like, oh man, this is a urgent property. I need to reach out to this one. And, things start to happen. So that number 100, which, as you'll see with the homework, is really where we're going to start, where we're going to really challenge you guys to hit in this challenge. And then, the number beyond that, once we look at the data to figure out, like, hey, how many leads does it take to get to a deal on average? What's that ratio of leads to deal? It's usually somewhere in that 300 range. We see people, again, if you're in a more competitive market, if you're in a Washington, if you're in a California, if you're in a New York, if you're in a market, especially the urban centers there, you're going to be higher number than that, probably a couple time multiple, I would think. But on average, and then obviously if you're in a rural market too, it's going to be less than that. But on average, if we look across the entire U.S., 300 qualified leads, people who have a rundown property that, again, are the telltale signs that we're talking about. 300 of those that you reach out to consistently, and we'll talk about this in week 2 of like how often to reach out to them and how to reach out to them. But that number is on average where you're going to get that first deal. So that's where you're going to see a lot of this homework, a lot of where we push you and try to hold you accountable, is to get to that number and to help you do so in the fastest way possible while keeping that quality and keeping, reaching qualified leads, people who are actually motivated to sell. So, wanted to lay that out there for you guys. Jericho, did you have any other thoughts here as I jump into the actual software?
No, all good for me.
Awesome, man. Perfect. What I saw a question on there too. It was, hey, is there a mobile app or desktop app? What you're seeing here is the desktop version. This is just app.dealmachine.com. At the end, we'll share, again, some special bonuses if you're going to try it out for 7 days, or if you're going to actually go full into this and say, hey, yeah, I want to commit to a full year and I want a really good deal for doing so. We'll share that out too. So you've got a couple different options here that we'll end with. But what I want to start off with is looking at the desktop version. What you see right here is going to look very, very similar to the mobile app as well. Like, the mobile app is obviously going to be squeezed down on a smaller screen. The mobile app you're going to be using when you're actually physically driving around, and it locks on your location, and you'll see a little blue dot pop up as you drive around, and just like you would with GPS. But inside the app here, where we really recommend people starting is if you're on our pro level, you have this highlights button right here. And this highlights button, if you click on this, you can start digging into data and figure out like, hey, is this a good area to drive? Now, I don't want to put too many barriers up. First and foremost, I would very much just prefer you guys get out there and just start driving, and regardless of neighborhood, like start to take action, lead with that first and foremost. But if you're going to really do some research ahead of time and really try to determine, hey, is this a good neighborhood to drive around? This highlight button is really, really powerful. And the reason being is when you click on highlights, you can go in here, you can hit create highlight, and then you've got thousands of data points from, mortgage information, you've got equity percentage, you've got MLS data, which if you're in every single state, we've got MLS data on here too. So no matter if you're in Texas or one of the 13 or 14 that, is a non-disclosure state, like, hey, we've got the actual sold data on here for you. Not even just a projection, but the real stuff. You've got property info right here. You've got, owner information. Is it owner type? Is it vacant? Is there a lien on the property? You've got a lot of stuff to work with. But what I really recommend starting off with is if you're going to determine, is this an area good to drive? A couple of things. One, we really focus on single family in this challenge. We do have plenty of people who use we've got literally hundreds of different crazy filters and stuff like that too that you can tap into. That's great too if you're especially a more advanced investor. But if you're that newbie, start with just property type and select single family. Cool, confirm that. Then also say, hey, I want to see properties that have a little bit of value to them. So calculated total value. And that meaning hey, if I find a property that once it's fixed up is worth, at least 150K, which we'll put that in here, or we'll put 100K for this area, that we know, hey, if I find a house that it's going to take, it's only worth 50K when it's fixed up and it's going to take 50K to fix it up, hey, it's probably not a great deal, right? So this will help you find a neighborhood that's got at least a little bit of value there. And then I also highly recommend doing year built. So if you do year built, all right, cool, is before 1993, meaning, hey, they've probably got some more equity in it that has a higher chance of needing some fixing up. They've had it's been built at least 30 years ago. Great, cool. Apply the highlights. Perfect. Click on that. And we'll see. Let's see. We've got some properties start to pop up. Awesome. So you can look at the map and figure out hey, is this a good area to drive? Are there any highlights popping up here? Which will take a minute, having zoomed out a little bit here. But you'll be able to see, hey, are these areas a good place for me to start driving? Because I know that if this is, if this is an area that I see a lot of highlights, that it's properties that fit my criteria of what I'm looking for. It's a little bit older house. I zoomed too far out, guys. Sorry about this. It's a little bit of an older house. It's one that, it needs some fixing up, possibly because it's a little bit older. It's got a little bit of value to it, and it's a single family home. Awesome. Cool. That means, hey, this is a good spot to be looking at. You can also click on these and just look at some quick lists here and say, hey, are there any vacant properties in my area? Are there any, absentee owned properties? Are there any expired listings? Foreclosures, really digging in here and looking at what's going to work well and what's not can really help you just nail down entire areas to start off with and figure out where to go and where to start driving for dollars. So I would say first and foremost, think about that. Think about how to use the highlights button to really help you nail down what are good areas to be thinking about and where should I be spending my time so I'm using it as efficiently as possible. And then once you do that, it's as simple as, actually getting out there and driving and looking for those houses, looking for those properties, looking for areas that, have, again, the properties have the tarp on the roof, the siding falling off, the gutters having problems, the windows broken, the backyard, front yard has a lot of issues, the window AC units, all that stuff is really, really good as an indicator for what makes a good lead here. So, so let me zoom in here for you guys. All right, awesome, cool. So again, if you take out the mobile app, it's going to lock on your location. And as I drive around here, you're going to see a bunch of dots start to pop up. And each of these black dots, that's just a property in real life. Look at the app, look at the black dot in real life, or look at the black dot on the app. Look at the property in real life. Awesome. Cool. If I see Iowa, Avenue right here, and I go down the street and 3315 Iowa is a rundown house. Cool. Click hit add lead here. You'll see a blue pin pop up. So that way you can visually look at the screen to figure out, hey, where are all of my leads, and where in that area are all of my leads, and really use that as a way to help you determine where to drive and where to go next. But it's simple as that. It's looking for rundown houses. It's hitting add lead, on the app. You turn those into blue pins and move on to the next one. Is there anything, Jericho, when you were driving for dollars, is there anything that you use in terms of physical distress that you were looking for that really was a good indicator of hey, this is a good lead for me?
Yeah, I was looking for things. I mean, just like your basic things that you would look for is anything that's gutters falling down, You got super mossy roof, and super. One of the biggest things that I've gotten the better look of is going after properties that have overgrown vegetation. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's essentially just properties that have just been unkept as far as like grass maintenance, or maybe they have some bushes. Maybe they got some berry bushes growing out of the backyard. I mean, it just looks absolutely terrible. So some of the things, some of those things are what I look for when I do driving for dollars. And even till to this day, I still do driving for dollars, because driving for dollar leads is what we consider, at least in my operation, tier one data. And that's what we really look for as far as, I mean, it's a very fine list. It's a very small list, but we really make sure we try to reach them as many times as we possibly can. Kind of like what Matt was talking about with follow-up. Even if you reach somebody, a pro tip that I want to give you guys here real quick before I stop talking is if somebody tells you that they're not interested in wanting to sell, all it means is that they're not ready to sell at this moment. But the reason why we have tools and systems and processes is to be able to follow up with those records in a timely manner. And just like Matt was saying, it's just to make sure that we're on top of mind for that. Whenever they do decide to want to sell, they know exactly who to call.
Absolutely.
So that's just my 2 piece into it. But yeah.
Love it, man. Love it. So I see, let's see, Annalyn asked about using Deal Machine in this challenge. Again, we're going to share some special perks here at the end too. If you're going to try out Deal Machine, awesome. Like, we've built the app to save you time in this process, but everything we talk about today, like being able to look and, write down properties, do it by hand that way, being able to look and figure, look up more data about that owner and figure out like, hey, what, where, what is the situation with this property, doing a little bit of extra digging there. That is all very, a good alternative. That's something that Jericho, again, like you said, you did your first deals that way. As you're doing this, when you click on a property, again, you'll be able to look at things like, hey, when was this last sold? And, what was the sale price? And what's the equity percentage currently? And what's the current assessed value? And, hey, what is the interest? What is their loan looking like? And when was this built? And you'll see a lot of data that you can tap into, as you drive around, as you look for these leads. But first and foremost, what you're looking for is that physical distress above everything else. So I want to start there. Just make it easy for you guys to know, like, hey, look at the map, drive around, hit add lead. Or again, if you're driving, if you're doing it by hand, just write down those addresses, look for what we're talking about here, look for those telltale signs, and you're quickly building the best lead list out there. They're tier one data, like you said, Jericho, of people who are potentially extremely motivated to sell. So I will share a couple quick pro tips as you add those leads. If you're using Deal Machine, you'll be able to click on them. When you hit add lead, you'll see a few things pop up. You'll see these tags pop up inside the app. So that way you can go in here and say like, hey, yeah, and you can customize these tags too. You can come in here and say, hey, yeah, this is a really distressed property. This is one that I should put as a high priority, and use that as a way to really, sort out your leads and know who to market to first, which we're going to cover that next week for you guys. So just remember that tagging pro tip as you go through it this week. Also, you'll be able to go in here and you hit this picture button right here. That's another place that is going to be really important next week, where if you take a picture of that property and you send direct mail to them, which is part of the marketing strategy we're going to teach, that particular postcard that you send them, the picture is going to pop up right there on the postcard, and that doubles your response rate. That really perks people up and gets their attention. So I would say, remember tagging, remember adding photos. You can drive around. Again, you just want to tap to add those properties. If you want to go really quickly, you can actually go in here and select on the map and be able to say, hey, yeah, I want to do tap to add mode. And that's if you're in an area that's got a ton of properties that fit this criteria, cool, drive down the street, just click on them. And instead of having to look up more info about the property, you're going to see all of these pins just follow you as you tap on that property. It just adds them automatically. So that's another kind of little time hack to figure out, like, hey, how do I do this as quickly as possible while still finding really high quality leads? And then finally here too, this route tracking. So routes on the map, you'll see it's green for 6 months, yellow for another 6 months, and then red after a year. That'll really show you, and you'll see, I don't know if I have any route tracking here on the map right now, but you'll see as you zoom out, you'll be able to see around you. If you've driven that area, you'll see a little green tail pop up behind you as you drive around. And that's going to show you, hey, I've driven this road. I've gone over here. I've looked over there, and it'll help you visually look at the map. And is a super powerful way to just as quickly as possible know, hey, have I driven down the street before? Where am I finding good deals? You know, look at the part of town when you start doing deals that you went to and see, has it been 6 months since I've been there? Cool, let me redrive it. Like that route tracking data can really give you a ton of great knowledge to work with. And then one last thing. So I know I keep throwing in pro tips here for you guys. One last thing. If you are on our pro level or up, you do also have the ability to add drivers to your account. And that's something I saw people talking about, bird dogs. You know, that's a common term for this, right? If you click on your profile, go to team right here, and then hit invite by email, you can quickly you can add people to your account. So I've got like Elliot right here, who's a driver. He can only add leads to my account. He's not actually marketing or doing any of that stuff. So you can change their permissions, but you can do that. And you know, when you do that, you can even view and see like, hey, where have we driven before? You know, what routes are we each taking? And let me look at Elliot. Let me click on him and see how he's doing. You know, he drove the other day, you know, earlier this month, added 4 leads. Here's exactly where he drove. Here's how many miles he drove. Here's how long he drove. And it'll really help me look and figure out like, hey, how do I team up with other people and do this together and do this where we are driving in particular markets, or even, which I'll get into here in a second, even doing this virtually where you might be located in one city and you could hire, if you have a friend in another city that you want to wholesale in, awesome. You can add them to Deal Machine and have them go to work in their city, you know, physically driving for dollars there. Is that something, Jericho, have you done much with bird dogs, you know, on your team, or?
No, not personally. I haven't. It's something that I am opening up to. I see somebody here that actually DM me on Instagram about bird dogging. So, I mean, it's just the power of social media, man. I mean, I'm starting to get my social media game up so that way I could, you know, take advantage of everybody else's opportunities, right?
Yep.
But no, personally, I don't have anybody under me as bird dogs. I've had a couple in the past, but I mean, it's just like high school friends, right? So not nobody that really kind of stuck around. But I mean, for those who are serious about it and you're in Washington, hit me up.
Love that. Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to team up with other people too, even in this challenge, is, you know, being bird dogs together. Absolutely. And things. I know to find people who are serious about being a bird dog, we could do a whole follow-up challenge, a whole follow-up kind of masterclass on that, because that's a really, for the more advanced investor, like how do you scale the strategy? That's probably the number one way to do it, is kind of outsource it and build a team of people driving. So that's something. Reach out to me over email if you're really interested in building a driving team, especially a bigger one, and I'm happy to help you help give you some good resources there too. So all right, awesome, cool. So final thing that I want to show off tonight in this training, you know, we talked about highlights. Hey, you're using highlights, you're using data to figure out, is this a good area to drive, or is this a good lead to add because you're driving around and you see highlighted houses. You know, you're looking for physical distress, you're looking for these black dots and hitting add lead. You're tracking your route as you go around, you're tagging the property, you're taking a picture of the property, you're adding drivers possibly, you're doing all this stuff to really put yourself in the best position to succeed. The final bit is, as Kong talked about at the beginning of this, is doing this virtually. And really virtually driving for dollars is such a powerful way to take advantage of the pros, like the reasons to drive for dollars, which, you know, is, you know, as we highlighted on earlier on this call, like you are finding the most motivated sellers, the least competitive leads out there. And so if you can do that in a way that you can do it from your couch or do it from anywhere on the globe and invest in another market, or even invest in your own market if you've got a day job and it's just really hard to get out there during the day, or, you know, maybe you want to hire a virtual assistant and have them do this for you too, you know, to virtually drive for dollars. Like, there are a million use cases on why you would want to click for dollars here, you know, and it is fun. Like it's fun to do, like the mobile app. You can do this on mobile or desktop. You can literally sit on your couch, you know, watch March Madness and be finding deals as you do it. So there are a lot of awesome use cases on why you would want to do this, but I just want to show that option off really quick here for you guys too, because it's something that, especially if you're based in like Canada, or you're based in I saw a lot of LA people, like a lot of really competitive markets, or, you know, Canada, we're only in the US for our data. This is the way you're going to want to do this, is the virtual driving, or again, hire a driver. So this top right corner here, if you hit start driving and you click anywhere on the map, which let me find a little bit more of a residential spot. Okay, cool. You said start driving right there, and it imports Google Street Image right into the Deal Machine app for you. And just like you would in real life, you can scroll around. You can see the map in the bottom corner as you scroll around, and you can look at different areas and figure out whenever you look at a house, hey, it's going to pop up with the information to add that lead right there. So if I'm driving around here and I see like, hey, yeah, this property, you know what, this might be a good one because I've got, issues with the windows, we've got some things going on in the front yard right here. The porch doesn't look great. Cool. At add lead. Awesome. You can even tag it right there. So that's what it's going to look like. Hey, this is a higher priority, is somewhat distressed, I would say. You can even look at more data, more info about that particular property, and then move on to the next one. And do this just like you would in real life. Instead of writing down the address or tagging it in the Deal Machine app, you can do this over and over again virtually in any market. So you can look and see, hey, I've got a rundown roof right here. Awesome, cool. Hit add lead, move on to the next one right here. And the one big thing I would say about this is, number one pro tip is make sure to look. And when you add that lead virtually, click on that property, look and figure out, hey, when was the last sale date? Which, let me see here. That sale data wasn't syncing up here. Yeah, it depends on, in St. Louis, it can be a little funky on sale date data, but make sure to look. And here we go. So you can see sale date is 2019, March 2019. Maybe double check that you're in a neighborhood, excuse me, that's got sale data right there, to make sure that, hey, this is a good virtual strategy, is a good thing to pursue here. But double check that sale date on the spot and compare that to when that photo was last taken, which you'll see, Google often drives these streets, especially in more major markets, like the top 50 size markets. Most neighborhoods, it's, within a year or two that they've driven. But you will find places where it's, hey, they haven't driven this since 2018, 19. It's 5 years old, this picture. Is this a good lead or not? Compare that last sale date to when that picture was taken. And that, hey, if this house is really run down and it's in bad shape and it hasn't been sold since this picture was taken, then, it's probably still a really good lead. It's still that same owner. It's still probably not in great shape. So it's still, I always default to physically driving. I always default to recommending, hey, physically look around for properties. But if you can, if you want to invest in another place, there are a million use cases on why you want to do virtual. It is, again, pretty fun to do. It's really gamified here. Jump in there, look at the sale date, look at the photo taken date, compare those two, make sure that it was sold before that photo was taken, last time sold, and you're probably looking at a really good lead still. So wanted to share that with you guys. I know, is this something, do you see any good questions here, Jericho? And I know people usually have some good questions on the virtual side.
Yep, it's Ryan's got a question here, but I'm pretty sure you already answered it. Right there at the bottom right above the white is where you would see when the last picture was taken. So yep. Ryan, if that answers your questions, let us know. If it doesn't, feel free to further clarify that. Mm-hmm. We also got Ryan P here that says, my street view is 13 years old in my area. So yeah, what do you...
That can happen. I mean, it's all Google's data. Like I would say, this strategy, you really want to select the neighborhoods you do this by doing a little bit of a preview, like jump into that neighborhood, see when it was last taken, see if it's within like 5 years or so. I think it's still worth doing this. But if it's 13 years old, hey, virtual is probably not the best strategy for you if you're going to, or at least not in that area. You might want to physically drive that area or hire a bird dog for that area. So
now, question, Matt. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the things that these guys can do as well is they could use that highlight feature, and highlight the properties that are on paper distress, and going to go virtually drive for dollars and see how the property looks as well too. Yeah. They could do that too, right?
Absolutely. All right, that's a great tip here. I love that idea, man. So that's what, going through here, that's a highlighted property right there that we just looked at. So as you drive down the street, you'll see more and more highlights pop up. You'll see when I hit end, just like you would in real life, you'll also track your route and you can see where you drove, how long you drove. You've got the little tail right here of the properties that you drove past. So you can use this as a way to blanket the city too. But in general, yeah, try to use a combo of, virtual driving, physical driving, and for the more advanced person, adding people to your team.
All right. Next question here is from Brenson. He says, can you do driving for dollars on PropStream like you do on Deal Machine?
So I will say, in general, and we actually get that question all the time of like what makes us unique. We really, really point to driving for dollars as our number one experience and product that makes us unique from anything else out there. And there are there's a million features that I could point to say, hey, here's why it's unique. You know, adding drivers like that, managing a driving team, looking at the route tracking, doing the virtual driving, like a lot of, the experience of the map, all those things, a lot of those are unique. But being built for mobile first, like our mobile app, in terms of experience versus anything else out there. Like there are a lot of individual things like that I can really point to. We also are one of the cheapest options out there. Again, if you're going to be the starter plan with us, like the bang for your buck is a really high value. But regardless of all that, what we really point to and objectively to say why we are so proud of the product is from a ratings and reviews standpoint. If you look at us versus anything else out there, PropStream included, we're the highest rated and most reviewed app out there for investors to find off market deals. So if you look at the mobile app, you go to the app store, you figure out like, hey, this is what I'm going to be using when I drive around, when I drive for dollars, and you side by side compare. We are very, very proud of that and really hang our hat on that too. So it's a good question. You can, if you can use PropStream for a variety of things too. We have a ton of people who use us and them in tandem and with other tools too. But just to answer like, hey, here's how we're unique. I'd point to all those reasons. So.
And I use both tools as well too. So just to kind of give my insights on somebody who's actually putting these tools into use, Deal Machine, what they really specialize is in the convenience, right? So I saw Annalene's question here. Like, do you need the product? And by all means, you do not need to have Deal Machine itself. Like if you want to do this, it's what we're teaching you is the principle, right? You can go and implement everything that we're teaching you. I mean, quite literally what you're paying for is for convenience. Right, being able to drive and just click and in one click of a button, add those properties to your list. Where, you can manually do that on yourself on a piece of paper and a pen. You could absolutely do that, but what you're paying for is the convenience, right? And I know personally when I switched to Deal Machine, because it fit my budget, right? I mean, it's one of those things that you gotta realize for yourself. Hey, what marketing avenue is going to be beneficial for you in your specific case? If driving for dollars is something that you want to go after, I highly recommend it. The reason why is just like exactly what Matt has said throughout this whole conversation. I mean, these are what we consider tier one data, and we are still pulling deals from driving for dollars at where we're at in our level. And so I love driving for dollars still, and just being able to have a tool that just easily makes that possible for me to do. It's just super convenient, right? Instead of going out driving for an hour straight, you'll probably get and Matt, you can maybe touch base on this. At least when I drive for at least an hour, I'm only able to get just a small handful. Where if you have an ease of access to just being able to click of a button and just drive through these neighborhoods, I mean, you're able to get double, if not triple, the amount of property addresses you're able to gather. And just like Matt said, that 100 mark is, I mean, you guys it's a numbers game, to be honest with you guys. So the more properties you have, the more properties you could reach out to. The better of luck that you'll have by reaching these property owners. But I mean, driving for dollars, I mean, that's the best way to get in front of motivated sellers who are going to be in that situation, because look at their property. If they're not maintaining it, they're not keeping up with the maintenance, then that means that they're more than likely in a situation where they would end up needing to sell that property sooner or later. So you being there on the right time, and just keep on following up, even if they say no, just a matter of time.
Yeah, and that's it. In the end, you're investing in yourself. You're buying your time back. You're trying to beat by speed and convenience and efficiency, using tools, whether it's Deal Machine or any other tool out there, to be able to go and execute on this stuff. So we wanted to really give you that playbook, what we see working over and over and over again. We're breaking it down week by week, which I'll give you guys the homework here in just a second. So thanks for sticking around. I know we're coming up on that hour mark, so I wanted to make sure I give that to everybody. But that's our whole goal with this challenge, is to break it down into bite-sized pieces, really push you, but also show you the exact roadmap of here's what is working over and over again for, like I said, 10,000 plus people. So let me give that homework here, and then the two quick bonuses, and then after that we can jump into more Q&A if that's cool, Jericho.
Yeah, that's totally fine with me.
All right, perfect, man. So your homework for week 1, you may have caught on to this by now. Build a list of 100 driving for dollars leads. There you go. And again, we're keeping it that simple. It's not, again, it's you're pushing yourself here. You want to team up with other people who can hold you accountable, who can hold yourself accountable to, declare this on social, say, hey, I'm going through this challenge and I need to hit this, like do things like that to put a little pressure on yourself to help you out. Like that's something I know it helps me. I know if you're showing up to this, we're also going to bribe you again with this giveaway and say, hey, if you complete that homework, pay attention to your email. On Friday, you're going to get an email, which tomorrow you're getting the replay email. Friday, you're getting the giveaway email. You're going to see, hey, here are the steps that you need to complete. If you email me a screenshot, a photo, a list of anything showing that you added 100 leads of Driving for Dollars leads, then you will qualify for this giveaway. So that's what our goal is here, is to be able to give you that accountability, give you the things to say, hey, yeah, I'm going to follow up. I'm going to follow through on this. I'm going to start off strong in this challenge. I'm going to dedicate some time to this. And, hey, we're going to go into week 2 and already be in an amazing position where if we look at the data after that first week, you are likely to stick with this and you are likely to keep going and keep snowballing and do that first deal and do that next deal and next deal, and next deal. So that's our goal with this homework. The 2 special bonuses really quick here before we get to Q&A. One, this is the link if you want to do that 7-day free trial. It's dealmachine.com/WTM. And that's just 7-day free trial. We do this only for Kongs people, where you actually get $40 inside Deal Machine. It's actually nearly 250 free skip traces, which we're going to talk about that next week of what those are, and 50 free postcards. So you can go out there and get started for free, try it out for free. Again, if you see the value in it, awesome. We welcome you to the Deal Machine family. If not, if you want to do it by hand or if you want to do it by an alternative method, go for it too. But we wanted to make this available for you within the challenge, is that 7-day free trial option. And then secondarily, if you're in this and you're like, yeah, I want to commit, I want to do this, I'm going to do this for more than just a few months, I'm going to fully jump into this and make things happen, make a change, and use the power of real estate. If you're going to do that and you want to use our tool for an entire year to help you accomplish that, this is going to get you 45% off versus if you just went through our website. So dealmachine.com/D4D challenge is you would get Deal Machine Pro, which that gets everything that we showed you tonight. It gets you 3 users. So if you want to add people to Bird Dog with you, awesome, cool. Like you've got the team option there. You actually get our list builder upgrade. So if you want to supplement your Driving for Dollars list with our list builder, you get that in there for free. And then you get all that free marketing dollars too. So all of that together normally would be over $1,800 if you just went through our site. For the challenge people, hey, you guys would do it for $990. So again, don't need to do this in terms of if you are in a spot where you're not looking to fully invest in something like this, totally understand. That's awesome. That's okay. Like use the playbook. That's awesome. Go for it. If you're in a spot where, hey, yeah, I want to fully jump into this, go through this instead of through our site, and you're going to way better deal. So wanted to make sure you guys were hooked up there with both of those links. Here's the QR codes for them, so you can just put your phone up there and easily be able to access that. Again, it's dealmachine.com/WTM for one of them, dealmachine.com/D4D challenge. But Jericho, I'm happy to stick around. Yeah, Ryan, if you are a current customer, reach out to me directly, Matt@dealmachine.com, and we'll hook you guys up here too. We'll be able to make this available for you guys if you're a current customer as well. So I'll put that offer up here. Let me see. Here's the free trial for you guys. Oh, if I can put this on the screen for you here too. Awesome. So there's a free trial, and then I'll switch over to the 45% off one here in just a little bit. So just let me put my email back in the chat for you here too. Yeah, thumbs up, Ryan. There you go. Matt@dealmachine.com. Reach out. Happy to help. So I know we're right on time, or a few minutes, three minutes over. Here we go, 4 minutes over. So I'm game to stick around for a little bit if we have questions. Appreciate all you guys. Like, I'm excited for the next 30 days. I hope you're fired up. Hope you're ready to get out there. Hope you're ready to do that first deal and many deals after this. And again, this is the playbook we've seen work over 10,000 times. Let's make you the next one. So,
yeah, guys, one thing I want to add real quick here is, being in the academy and knowing what it's like to start from nothing to, closing your first deal. I know it's got to be the hardest, but what we're giving you today is the actual blueprint of what exactly you need to do. So we need just at least one person. That's it. We need just at least one person to commit to this challenge, right? Whether you buy Deal Machine or whether you don't and do it the manual way, take the principle that teaching you today and throughout the rest of the week, and actually implement and put in the work, because you will get the results. It's just a matter of time, right? Go out there, take these challenges. If we're telling you to get 100 driving for dollar leads, go get 200. Go above and beyond, right? Because nothing works if you don't. If you really want to make this happen for yourself, if you want to succeed in this business, you have got to put in the work. And that's coming from me, who absolutely just put in the work each and every single day. So I know we got a couple of questions here, Matt. I want to make sure we get them answered real quick here. Annalyn said, and I apologize if I'm butchering your guys' names. She said, is there a certain date we should have the homework done by in order to qualify for the giveaway?
Yeah, so as long as you finish it before the next live training, which is going to be next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So the week 2 training, week 3, week 4 training, all of those are going to be Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern time. That's when I actually a lot of times host my own individual, like kind of guest coaching for you guys too. So I definitely recognize some names on here, which is awesome to see. But if you can finish the homework by then and you just reply to the email, you are entered into the giveaway, and it'll be one randomly selected person that wins that $800 plus prize there. So
next question here is, when they do finish the homework, how should we contact you to essentially qualify for the giveaways?
So I'll email it out on Friday, but it'll be an email to reply to. And again, you'll want to show evidence that you have completed the homework, and that's it. So if you can reply to that email, or if you do it, tonight and tomorrow you're done, email me just matt@dealmachine.com and I can count you too. But that email on Friday will give you the reminder of how to do this. So
absolutely. And then also just to add into the giveaways as well, if Matt hasn't already announced it, from the Academy, or from the WTM family at least, if you guys aren't in the Academy yet, we will give you access to the coursework, and also some merch as well too from us. So depending on whether or not you put in the work, will determine who the winner is.
Yeah, love that. And let's see, Mario had a really good question too. It said, if we have some houses on our radar, is there a way to manually add them here? You can actually go, every time you add a lead, it goes to your leads tab, and then you can click on add leads and import a list. So say you've already been driving for dollars and you have a spreadsheet of this already. Awesome. Cool. Import that list and keep going. So we want to make this an easy way to kind of consolidate all your leads in one spot and make it easy for you to keep going and keep hitting that homework. So.
All right, perfect. I think I've got all the questions covered here. If you guys have any other questions, last minute questions, go ahead and feel free to type it in the chat.
Yeah, I'll say really quick, Hector Garza, feel free to reach out to me, just matt@dealmachine.com. Our starter plan is $59 a month, but our pro plan is $99 a month. So if you're doing the pro plan, that might be where that level of charge is coming from. But just reach out to me direct, and I can help you out, man. So I'm always happy to help.
Yeah, what I'll do as well is Hector, he's DM me. What I'll make sure to do is connect both of you, because he's not very tech savvy. So I'll make sure to have him reach out to you.
Okay, perfect. Ryan, how do you modify the postcard? So we're going to do a deep dive on that next week too. The mail tab right here is where you can go in and customize a lot and create a lot of sequences and all kinds of cool stuff. So next week we're going to really do a deep dive on, like, okay, now you have a great list to start with. How do you reach out to those people, and how can we look at the data to tell you here are the most effective ways to reach out to people? So I think we got them all, though, hopefully here.
I think so too.
All right, go team. Good questions, guys. Well, again, here I'll put in the offer here on your screen for you guys one more time. So if you click on that's the one for 45% off for an entire year. It's just dealmachine.com/D4D challenge. But again, we're going to be doing this the next 30 days with you guys. So really, really excited to kick this off strong. Really good questions. People seem fired up and ready to go and ready to get out there and land that first deal. So, or next deal. And, again, next week, it's going to be 5 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday that we do this live training, really focused on marketing to your leads. So looking forward to that. And I know, Jericho, you'll be on that a little bit as well too.
Yep.
Perfect, man. Awesome. Well, great stuff, guys. Everybody have a great night. get out there. Happy deal finding. The 45% off is not today only, Alexander. It's it'll be for the challenge. So let's see. The giveaway prizes are not exactly that crit, but you'll see a variety of giveaway prizes. We'll put it that way. So but great questions, guys. Happy deal finding. In the meantime, go out and add those first 100 leads, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks.
All right.